Nobody saw this coming. In a shocking twist during the Diddy trial, Ben Affleck took the stand, and what he revealed shook Hollywood to its core. Moments later, Jennifer Lopez, yes, J.Lo herself, was slapped with a federal arrest warrant. From red carpets to handcuffs, she's now accused of hiding evidence in a decades-old gun case. Was she protecting someone or hiding the truth? You won't believe what happened at Nuys Airport. This is the moment everything changed. In this video, we'll dive deeper to uncover the shocking truth behind Ben Affleck's courtroom bombshell, the real reason Jennifer Lopez was arrested, and the hidden secrets Hollywood never wanted you to know. From courtroom drama to airport chaos, this is the untold story behind the headlines. Stay tuned, you won't believe how deep this goes.
Okay, picture this. It's a Tuesday morning, late May 2025. The sun's blazing, that perfect golden California light, hitting this huge, luxurious, bare mansion in LA. It sounds pretty idyllic, right?
Absolutely. Palm trees, maybe that Pacific breeze. The whole Hollywood dream scene.
But inside, well, according to the reports we've dug into, the atmosphere was anything but idyllic. It was thick, tense. One source even called it like a grim fog had settled.
Wow, grim fog. That's quite the description.
Yeah, and right in the middle of it all, Ben Affleck and Jennifer Lopez. And this wasn't just, a rough morning. Something really big was happening, and it was directly tied to the Diddy trial that was going on.
The Sean Diddy Combs trial, yeah. High profile, lots of serious accusations swirling around already.
Exactly. And that's where we're diving deep today. Welcome, everyone. We've gone through a whole stack of sources, articles, reports, some pretty dramatic accounts, all describing this sudden, intense connection between Ben and Jen and the Diddy trial.
Right. It's about how these massive Hollywood names got pulled into this really dark, serious legal situation unfolding in court.
Our mission here is to basically unpack this whole sequence for you, step by step, just using the material we have. We want to understand the details, the timeline, the shocking revelations, really.
And what it all means based on these sources for them, for the trial, maybe even for the wider industry, right?
Absolutely, because it moved fast. It started with news reports, then suddenly there's this unexpected testimony, secrets from the past coming back in a very real way, a federal arrest warrant popping up out of nowhere, and this incredibly dramatic return that just blew up globally. It's a lot.
It really is a whirlwind based on those accounts.
So let's start with that Tuesday morning, May 27th, 2025, in the mansion. Sources describe Jennifer Lopez, usually so put together, right? Sitting on this white sofa, her eyes just full of anxiety, phone buzzing constantly with news alerts.
Yeah, and Ben Affleck.
Yeah.
The reports say he was pacing, voice hoarse, exhausted, filled with this sense of helpless despair, is how they put it.
And the trigger, the immediate thing, news about the Diddy trial, it was just everywhere, nonstop.
They apparently had the TV on, showing a reporter outside the courthouse. And that name, Diddy, linked to just horrific stuff. Racketeering, sex trafficking, violence.
Right. It wasn't just background noise anymore. The sources suggest it created this unbearable pressure right there in their living room. Something had to give.
And that leads to this key moment, doesn't it? J.Lo reportedly looks at Ben.
Yeah, and asks this question that just hangs there. You know what you have to do, don't you, Ben? Described as a plea, almost.
Heavy. And Ben's reaction. He stops pacing, turns away from the garden view. There's this heavy sigh. The sources call it laden with both torment and resolve.
Yeah.
That's quite specific.
Very specific. And then he says it, according to the material, I made a promise to myself, Jen. I can't stay silent any longer. It's time the truth came out.
And the sources point out, he didn't say which truth, but they both knew. It was about Diddy, about things they'd seen, things they'd kept quiet about.
Exactly. Secrets they'd buried, the past they thought they'd moved on from.
And Jennifer's reaction, her face goes ashen. I mean, you think about it. She built this empire. She navigated Hollywood forever. She knew the whispers about Diddy's world, the parties, the deals.
Right. She tried to keep her distance, build her own separate life. But now, like the sources say, the past was now calling. It wasn't staying buried.
And this is where the personal stakes just skyrocket. She asks him, voice barely a whisper, apparently, can we get through this, Ben? You know, our relationship, our image.
And Ben, he reportedly goes to her, kneels down, takes her hands, and his response, it carries so much weight in these descriptions. I don't know, Jen, but I do know one thing. I can't live with myself if I don't speak the truth, no matter what that means for us.
Wow. That's a line in the sand moment, isn't it? The sources emphasize that feeling of torment, but also finality. He squeezed her hands, like sealing it.
Yeah, and that decision leads straight to a federal courtroom. Later that morning, around 10-point gap, gavel cracks, order in the court, and then the moment that sent ripples through the room, according to these reports.
The prosecutor calls the next witness.
And the name. Mr. Ben Affleck, please approach the stand. Just imagine the murmurs. The shock. Ben Affleck. The Ben Affleck testifying in the Diddy trial.
Total confusion, right? What on earth was going on?
He reportedly walks slowly to the stand. His eyes sweep the crowd, then lock onto Diddy's face. Unwavering, the reports say. Hand on the Bible, swears the oath. His voice deep, a bit hoarse, but clear, fills the room.
In his opening words, the sources called it a bomb.
Yeah. I couldn't stay silent any longer. The truth about what happened and who helped cover it up, it needs to come out. Just like that. Sets the stage.
And then he starts painting this picture, detailing things he apparently witnessed.
Late nights at lavish parties he admits he reluctantly went to. Places where, he testified, behind dazzling lights and music, there were these horrifying dark corners.
He talked about young women, didn't he? Frightened eyes, forced smiles, whispered warnings about Diddy's rules that nobody dared break. It sounds like he was describing an atmosphere of fear, not just a party scene.
Exactly. His voice apparently broke, but he kept going. I witnessed things I couldn't believe. He mentioned girls disappearing after parties.
Disappearing?
Yeah. And when he asked about them, the answer was reportedly just a sneer and a veiled threat. That detail really stands out in the sources, suggesting a real climate of intimidation.
And he admitted his own role, or lack thereof.
He did. He reportedly said, I was too much of a coward to speak up, then I was scared. Admitting that past fear, that complicity through silence, adds this layer of difficult honesty, doesn't it?
It really does. It speaks volumes about the kind of power Diddy allegedly held, according to these accounts.
Then the prosecutor reportedly puts up digital evidence, encrypted emails, texts from Diddy's old servers.
Okay, so concrete evidence.
Ben confirmed they showed these unofficial dealings, as the sources put it. He apparently detailed how Diddy used his huge entertainment network to recruit young women, promising them careers.
Only to drag them into what Ben called a vortex of exploitation.
Yeah. And his final assessment of Diddy, according to the reports, was brutal. He wasn't just a trafficker, Ben reportedly said, eyes burning. He was a manipulator, a ruthless man who built his empire on the fear and desperation of others.
Wow, that's incredibly strong language, a direct condemnation.
The courtroom reaction. Visceral, apparently. People covering mouths, reporters typing furiously, cameras clicking like crazy. And Diddy, impassive face, clenched jaw, but eyes flashing with fury, the sources say.
I mean, this changes everything for the trial, right? Ben Affleck saying these things on the stand.
Completely. And talk about speed court adjourns at 2 p.m. and the news just explodes instantly. CNN, Fox News, everyone broadcasting live.
The headlines must have been insane.
Oh, yeah. Sources give examples. CNN. Ben Affleck appears in Diddy case, delivers shocking testimony. Fox News. Hollywood stunned, Affleck exposes Diddy's horrific secrets. Just boom.
And social media, I imagine.
Went absolutely nuts. Millions of comments, furious debates kicking off immediately. Twitter, Facebook, Instagram chaos.
But while the world's reacting out loud, Jennifer Lopez is reportedly having this private meltdown, right? On her jet, heading somewhere.
Yeah, sources describe her mind just spinning, trying to process Ben's testimony. She closes her eyes and the past just floods back, described as like a nightmare.
And this takes us back, doesn't it? The sources detail these memories she reportedly relived.
Decades back. March 1998, New York. She's rising star, tough industry. Diddy's already this huge mogul, tons of power, hosting these flashy parties that, she reportedly now realizes, hid some pretty shady stuff.
Right. The sources suggest she was starting out in this world where power had this hidden, darker side.
She remembers meeting him post-Grammys. He's praising her talent, promising connections. Sources quote him saying things like, "Jen, you've got talent, you're going to be huge, but you need to know how to play the game. Hollywood is a jungle, I can help you." Apparently with this knowing smirk.
Like he's the gatekeeper, setting himself up as essential, maybe grooming relationships for other reasons.
Could be. After that, He starts inviting her to more private events. Events with stars, sure, but also these young, naive, ambitious girls.
And at first, she thought it was just networking.
Yeah, the sources suggest she genuinely believed it was about opportunities. But then, they say, she started noticing irregularities. Things felt off.
Like what? Any specifics?
Well, there's this really haunting memory from October '98. A young dancer, J.Lo, introduced to Diddy. He had said he needed new faces for a project. J.Lo remembered how excited the dancer was.
Okay.
Weeks later, she was gone, vanished. And when J.Lo asked Diddy, evasive answers, weird smiles, oh, that kid didn't have what it takes, she's somewhere else now. The sources say J.Lo felt this chilling fear hearing that.
Wow. That's direct alleged witnessing of a pattern, isn't it? Disappearance dismissiveness.
Seems like it. She also reportedly remembered other things: scared eyes on girls at parties, whispers of deals you couldn't refuse, cash changing hands, threats. The sources paint this picture of her seeing troubling signs.
But her own involvement, the sources are clear on that.
They state clearly she never directly coerced or lured anyone. But, and this is crucial, they also say she turned a blind eye. Quote, "She saw, she knew, but for the sake of her fame, her career, and her fear of Diddy's power, she chose silence." Presented as a really difficult, pivotal choice.
Choosing silence out of fear and ambition. That's complex.
And sometimes when Diddy asked for introduction, she reportedly did introduce other young women models, dancers. The sources suggest maybe she hoped they'd be okay or told herself she was helping them get a foot in the door.
So a mix of hope, fear, maybe even passive complicity in systems she saw but felt powerless against, or chose not to act against.
It's complicated based on these accounts. Then comes December 1999, New York, the nightclub incident.
The shooting. That was a huge scandal back then.
J.Lo reportedly remembers the chaos, the gunshot, the terror. Diddy was there. And this, according to the reports, is where her actions become legally very significant.
How so?
The sources state she helped him conceal the gun, tossed it in an alley.
Whoa, okay.
And then used her connections, her influence, to basically make the incident go away. Bury it, keep it out of the press, out of the courts.
And her motivation then was self-preservation, career protection.
Primarily, yes. Protecting herself, Diddy, and her rising career from the fallout. But now, on that plane, decades later, the sources say it all came crashing back, tears streaming down her face.
Wondering if youth and fear were enough justification, or if she'd become even slightly a part of that cruel system. Heavy stuff to confront.
Absolutely. So fast forward back to the courtroom, Wednesday, May 28th. The whispers start immediately. J.Lo, the 1999 shooting, is she involved? Judge has to restore order. Diddy apparently just smirks faintly.
And then the prosecution drops more evidence, right? Later that day.
Around 5 p.m., evidence that directly addresses those whispers and connects to Ben's testimony about covering things up.
What was it?
An audio recording. January 2000. A phone call, reportedly Diddy and an unnamed lawyer. Diddy's heard saying, she, referring to J.Lo, "Help me get rid of the evidence, we handled the gun, no one will find it."
Wow. Direct audio evidence.
Followed by a text message from 2001, also presented, reportedly mentioning J.Lo arranging for the '99 incident to be buried, using connections and money.
So suddenly Ben Affleck's testimony about who helped cover it up. It snaps into focus, doesn't it? Parties, companions, people who turned a blind eye or actively helped.
And the unavoidable question, based on these reports, was Jennifer Lopez one of them? The evidence presented seemed to point directly that way, alleging obstruction.
And things kept accelerating, right? That same evening.
Oh yeah. 7:30 p.m., court day ends. Another bombshell drops, according to reports. Based on Ben's testimony, that digital evidence, and specific 1999 video footage mentioned in the sources, the judge issues an urgent federal arrest warrant, not for Diddy, for Jennifer Lopez.
No way. On what charges?
Accomplice to obstruction of justice and concealing evidence, related directly to that 1999 gun incident, basically interfering with the investigation and hiding evidence.
So they're accusing her of actively helping Diddy cover his tracks back then.
Exactly. And federal agents. They reportedly rushed to her LA mansion within minutes. Flashing lights, police cars, the whole scene outside this place that was, hours before, a symbol of success.
But she wasn't there.
Gone. Sources confirmed she'd boarded a private jet from a small airport around 6:45 p.m. just before the warrant hit. Destination unknown at that point.
Wow. Talk about timing. An agent was quoted saying, "She's gone. We were too late."
Just like that. Global icon, movie star, suddenly a fugitive. Her entire image shattered overnight, according to the sources.
The world must have gone crazy.
Absolute shockwaves. Thursday morning, May 29th, the newspapers were screaming, LA Times. J.Lo, a fugitive arrest warrant issued after Affleck's testimony. New York Times. Hollywood stunned Jennifer Lopez wanted by federal agents.
Morning TV must have been nonstop coverage. Legal experts, psychologists.
Wall to wall, and Ben Affleck. Back in LA, scrolling through these headlines. Heavy feeling like a punch, the sources say. Reportedly thinking, so this is it, no turning back now.
And the public reaction. Divided, I bet.
Sharply. One faction online calling it a witch hunt, a conspiracy. Can't believe it. J.Lo is an icon. She wouldn't do that. This is blatant setups. Ben reportedly winced reading those, muttering, they have no idea.
Because he felt he did know, based on his testimony.
Right. He didn't want her to suffer, but the truth, as he saw it, if they only knew everything, he reportedly thought.
And the other side?
Cheering, according to reports. Justice finally arriving. Time for Hollywood secrets to come out. No one is exempt, not even J.Lo. She's been protected for too long. Tens of thousands of likes on comments like that.
And part of Ben agreed with that sentiment, even with the personal cost.
Apparently, yes. A strange sense of relief that justice was moving. Reportedly thought she's been too good at getting away with it, but not this time.
What about her fans, the ones who idolized her?
Deep disappointment, hurt. Comments like, I used to idolize her, but now I don't know what to think. It's heartbreaking. That reportedly hit Ben hard. Remembering their past, seeing her image crumble. Deep sadness, the sources say, but not regret for testifying. More like, it was all an illusion, but this heartbreak is real.
And the industry reaction. Tense silence.
Very tense. Close colleagues silent. Others cautious, keeping distance. An anonymous director quoted saying, this is a huge shock, makes us reevaluate everything.
Meanwhile, the Diddy trial just keeps going.
Right, and J.Lo's lawyers, they put out an urgent statement. Complete innocence, pledging full cooperation. We are working to have Miss Lopez return. This is a grave misunderstanding. Justice will prevail.
Ben's reaction to that.
Scoffed, apparently. Empty words, he thought. He felt he'd provided irrefutable evidence. Reportedly thought, stop pretending, Jennifer, you can't run forever.
But the court wasn't buying promises, right? Not with a warrant out and her location unknown.
Exactly, they demanded her presence. Huge pressure on Ben now, reputation, marriage, everything on the line. Could he handle it? Could their relationship survive?
So Friday, May 30th, the world is watching, speculating where she is.
Yeah, private island, Europe. Then, mid-morning, unexpected news breaks. 9 a.m., J.Lo's private jet lands. Then Nuys Airport, Los Angeles.
She came back.
She came back. Federal agents immediately surround the plane. J.Lo steps off looking tired, haggard, but still with that star presence. No resistance. Handcuffed.
And then that moment, the sources described her eyes meeting Ben's.
Yeah. She scans the photographers. Then her eyes land on Ben, standing at a distance. Their eyes meet, a gaze described as loaded with betrayal, pain, and something elusive, perhaps a cruel understanding. Just intense.
Well, straight to court.
Later that day, 2 p.m. federal court hearing. She's in a simple black suit, not prison clothes, but the gravity is immense.
Prosecutor reiterates the charge.
Yep. Helped Diddy conceal the .99 gun, obstructed the investigation using influence and resources. Your Honor, we have clear evidence, sharp tone, reports say.
And her lawyer's defense.
Powerful, sharp woman, according to the descriptions. Argued J.Lo was shocked, threatened back then, acted to protect herself in a dangerous situation, not actively conceal evidence. Plus, it was almost 3 decades ago, leaning on fear and the passage of time.
And then Ben back on the stand, facing her.
Yeah, the whole courtroom holds its breath, the sources say. Ben takes a deep breath, looks right at her, voice deep, full of anguish. I was in so much pain having to say these things, Jen. Acknowledges how hard it is.
But he sticks to his testimony.
He does. Recounts seeing her scared, trying to contact powerful people to fix things that night, knew she didn't want to, was afraid, but she did it. You helped him cover it up, Jen, he reportedly said, pained but firm. You helped a criminal escape the law.
And J.Lo's reaction while he's saying this.
Silent, eyes welling with tears, shaking her head slightly, not arguing, just absorbing it.
It wasn't like a bitter accusation then. More like a painful confession from him.
Exactly what the sources suggest. Complicated things even more. Added this layer of intense personal tragedy to the legal drama.
So what was the outcome of that hearing?
Released, but on massive bail. Passport confiscated. Electronic ankle monitor fitted. Placed under house arrest. Her freedom, as the sources put it, became a fragile concept. Tied to her home, tied to the law.
And that brings us pretty much up to date with this incredible sequence described in the sources. From that tense mansion morning to a global superstar under house arrest. It's staggering.
It really is a huge amount to process in just a few days. It just highlights this intense personal drama playing out under the brightest spotlight imaginable, tangled up with incredibly serious legal proceedings.
And it shows how the past, even decades later, can just erupt into the present, doesn't it? The weight of choices made long ago and how quickly everything can change, even for people who seem to have it all.
Absolutely. It really makes you think, doesn't it? What's the real cost of silence? Not just for the individuals caught in the middle, but maybe for a whole industry where power and influence might let dark things happen unchecked.
Yeah, and how actions buried for years can just resurface and reshape everything in the most dramatic, unexpected ways.
Definitely something to ponder as this story, based on everything we've reviewed, continues to unfold. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.